I hate it when I see the guy saying, $1 million service company. Bro, let's get you to 100 grand. Let's get that money and let's get you 250. And then at 250, we could probably talk about $1 million.
Welcome to Masters of Home Service, the best podcast for home service pros like us. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester, and I want you to crush it in business. Is your business doing $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a month, maybe $250,000 to $50,000 a year? Do you want to get to $1 million? If you do, then we're going to give you strategies for that. Because here's the thing, to get to $1 million a year and $2 or $3 million, it requires different systems in place, different leadership. You have to become a better leader. You have to hire differently and market differently, all these different things. You have to have a game plan for that. It's not just going to happen naturally. And here's the thing. I own two businesses. I have a 6-figure business and a 7-figure business. And I enjoy the 7-figure some more. It's more exciting and more fun for me. So if that's you, and you want to become a $1 million business, today is your day, because my two guests are great at this. They've done this before. They do this now. They are $1 million guys, and they're going to give you a plan for how to start building your business to $1 million in revenue. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell us who you are and what you do. Jeff, you go first.
My name is Jeff, the 360 electrician. I actually started my personal brick and mortar electrical contracting company in Los Angeles 20 years ago this year. And I always tell the story of my guys got tired of me and said, why don't you retire early? And so during COVID, a lot of my systems changed, and I decided to move to Missoula, Montana. Got bored and opened up my second brick and mortar there within a year being there. So now I operate 2 electrical contracting companies in 2 different states. And I saw the void. There was nobody doing electrical contractor content. So I decided to get on board social media. We're the #1 social media channel for electricians that want to become electrical contractors, and for electrical contractors looking to level up in their business in everything from 0 to 360.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks for being here. That's awesome.
It's a great ride.
Forrest?
Yeah, my name is Forrest Derr. I've got a company called Derr Consulting. I'm a fractional chief operating officer. So my niche is helping businesses do what you're talking about, scaling their business to get over that $1 million mark, to get to the 10 million to the 20 million. A lot of these entrepreneurs, I tell everybody that they have built their business with brute force. Now it's time to make it easier. Now it's time to build the systems in place to build that business, since that's where I focus my time.
We scrape and we claw and we grind. You can only get so far by doing that. So we're going to talk about how to sustainably build a business and boost profits and that kind of stuff. What would you guys say is the biggest misconception that people have in getting to that size we're talking about, getting $1 million and above?
I think the biggest misconception is that it's super hard and it's impossible and they don't think they can do it. It's a blocker from the beginning. The big thing I preach and teach now is we're not doing it like our dads and our grandfathers did. That's huge. We have social media now. We have software. We have consultants and coaches. And if you're not taking advantage of that, you're doing it like dad and grandpa, which is brute force scratching and scraping. Like, why not take the easier road?
Yeah, work smarter.
Yeah, I totally agree, especially with the automation and the social media aspect of it. But it seems like a lot of the people that I talk to have pride and they don't want to ask for help. And if they would just take that step and just ask for a little bit of help, it could make the road so much easier.
Yeah. When you could either swim around the ocean looking for this random fish, looking for the answer, or you could listen to this podcast, get the answers you're looking for. So let's give our listeners the answers, the checklist, the systems they need. Because here's the thing, I think it starts with us. John Maxwell's law of the lid is like your organization's potential is capped by the leader. Right. You're the lid of the organization. Do you think it starts with the leader, and how so?
I absolutely think it starts with the leader. A lot of times the leader is the bottleneck in the business, and they were the person that was driving every decision and pushing everything to happen. They were the person out on the truck when they were the one man jucking a truck on getting it started. And they've got to come to a point where they're ready to accept that they can let things go and delegate those things to other people. And so absolutely.
Yeah, I think all the new people that are starting out, you're building your foundation. We're all construction people. Like, how big of a base are you going to build? How big is your structure going to be? And if you're thinking small, you're building a small, foundation. It's going to get really hard to scale and grow. So I tell everybody, dream as big as you can. And then exactly like Forrest was saying is reach out And if you got that end goal, a lot of people start their business and they say, oh, I was great at the trade, but I always say that you probably suck at business, which is,
Right.
It's okay, because you can get someone to help you run the business. You can't get somebody to, teach you the experience of doing it. You got to go through that. I think it's really important that they sit back and they actually think of the end in mind. I usually call it the middle. It's not the end unless you're dead or you sell out. So you're always going to be in your middle. Did I ever think I was going to do $1 million+ electrical projects by themselves? Like, that was like, are you crazy? So you never know where your end is. So I always say in your middle. But if you lay out that foundation and then you specifically say, okay, look, I know the first year is going to be tough. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Get that roadmap. But on that roadmap should be, I know I don't know. I know what I don't know. You got to write it down. And when you get to that point, reach out to the people that do know.
Yeah, building an exit strategy. And that's one of the first questions I ask clients is, what is your exit strategy? And most people don't have an answer. But if you don't have an end in mind, how are you going to get there?
Yeah.
How are you going to know what that is? Right?
So if someone's listening, they're doing $250,000 a year. They've got 2 helpers. What do they need to do now to start building that future towards $1 million?
They've got to think about what that end game is. So they got to look into the future and say, in 5 years, I want to be at this revenue. Okay. If in 5 years you want to be at this revenue, how many trucks does that require? How many employees does that require? What kind of tools do you need? So you've got to think about the end in mind. Much like a project, you've got a project management. I use a Gantt chart. What's the furthest point where I want to go? What are the incremental steps that I need to take today to get to where I need to be in 5 years? So you got to have that end in mind and know where you're going.
Yeah. Look, if you're doing 250,000, I'm proud of you. Like, that's a great milestone. I love that number because it gives you enough cash flow, hopefully profit, that you can now afford to really scale. I hate it when I see the guy saying, $1 million service company, bro, let's get you to 100 grand. Let's get that money and let's get you 250. And then at 250, we could probably talk about $1 million. But I always feel like that's the point. At 250 is a sweet spot where you have the resources. You can analyze what worked, what didn't work. And then again, reaching out, whether it's coaching like me, Forrest, or any of these guys, also the proven track record. You want to start following people that are showing you. I believe I show. So if I say, hey guys, let me show you how I sold this $1 million project, I better be on $1 million project. And that's the important part. And then whoever resonates with you, whoever you bind with, whoever you go with, go all in. At that 250 range, you should be spending at least $10,000 to $20,000 in investing in coaching.
Yeah. What does the marketing plan look like? So you're at 250,000 and you want to get to 500 and then 750, then $1 million. It's different once you start getting bigger and bigger and bigger. So how does it change? What do you guys think?
I think from a marketing strategy, what I find talking to people a lot of times is they don't have a defined target market. And, when you're at that 100,000, 250, you're just taking any business you can get. Just whatever you can grab, you're going to take it. And so to be able to scale and get past $1 million, you really got to define what that target market is and figure out where those people are. Defining the target market is a challenge sometimes because a lot of people are, stuck in, I want to get any business I can. But once you define that and really clarify who they are, then you can start building a marketing strategy around how to go find those individual people.
I think if you're sloppy small, you'll be sloppy big. And I think that when you're at $250,000, it's a great time to pause and think, all the headaches that I have right now, all the problems, all of the frustrations, you guys know where I'm going with this, multiplied by 4x, I'd be miserable, right? And they're not going to go away on their own. In fact, they'll even get worse. And so I wish that I had done this. I wish I had $1 million systems when I was a quarter the size. Because if you don't, then you're going to get to $1 million. Everyone's going to be direct to you. All the problems are going to float up to you and you're miserable. You kind of wish you'd just gone back. You're taking on too much work that's not in your wheelhouse. There's so many things that people do at 250 that are just bad decisions. You got to weed those decisions out now and course correct now so you actually enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. So it's funny you mentioned marketing. So in electrical, I have on my channel, I have the ultimate marketing for electrical contractors. I spent money in advertising marketing only in the first 4 years of both my companies. And I have not literally spent a dime without a direct target. Like, sometimes you're going to sponsor something, or we have a lot of veterans in Montana that aren't going to be on the phone. So we have a very specific marketing for that. Because I'm talking about like all the
Google ads and TV.
I'll say the bad words, Yelp and Angie's List and all those. I didn't do it because I told people there was a point where I realized that every single client I go to is a gold mine, a potential gold mine. There was a nugget there. You found a nugget. They called you, you got in the door, you spent all this time, money getting there, whether it is from Angie, Yelp, and all those I don't care when you're starting out. You got to get anything and everything. Once you know that there's nuggets in that home, my whole game plan for all my technicians, all my SOPs, everything changes to you start getting that shovel and you start digging and you make sure that you're staking. That's a mine and you're looking for more gold, which is your referrals, plain and simple. I tell everybody, don't pay for leads, be the lead. And who's going to be your biggest cheerleader? Your existing clients. Everybody wants to, kind of follow the herd. Mm-hmm. Let the herd do the same advertising. Let them be there. You just go with what you know is solid gold, and that's your existing customers. So that's how you'll scale immensely fast. I always say it, and I can count really fast to 1 to 3, 3 to 9, 9 to 27. After that, I don't want to do the math, right? But imagine, and that's how I 10x my client base, very, very fast. I've used this method I call the upside down pyramid. But it doesn't take a lot of money at all. It just takes a little bit of planning, systems, and train your techs. They are the face of your company no matter what. Every person you own has to be the biggest cheerleader for your company. Give them some incentive and you'll go a long way with marketing. It's really not that hard.
And it's amazing how many people are afraid to ask for a referral.
Oh, unbelievable.
You've got a customer that's happy with you. They're pleased. They think you did a great job. They may give you a good Google review. Just ask them, hey, do you know anybody that's having challenges with what I helped you with?
Can I do something really fun right now? Mm-hmm. This is serious. Okay. So I usually don't have cash in my pocket. I'm in Vegas to do this shopping. Okay. This is what I do. When I go to a customer, now I'm not really ripping hundreds. Okay. I'm not that rich, but here's the analogy. Listen to this. This is serious marketing. You guys are going to be blown. This is my number 2, number 3 question in all coaching. I go to Adam, thank you so much for being such a great client. I want to give you a little gift and your friends and family a gift. Would you pass that on for me?
Okay.
And you go, okay, sure. Great. And I go, okay, Adam, here's the first. I'm ripping half 100. There's one for your mom. Here's one for your coworker. And you know what? Here's one for you next time, right? Okay, we're done. So you got 3 half hundreds. I'm taking the other half. If your people call me, I'm going to apply that to a service call, whatever it is. I want to make sure all your friends, family, or customers for life. I leave. If you don't do this and I leave, the same thing happens. Life takes over. Adam gets a call from the IRS, heaven forbid, and you're being audited. Your wife calls, your significant other, your partner calls, something's happened, your kids fell, life's going to instantly take over, and you can care less that plumber cleared your toilet. You can care less that the air conditioning filter was changed. You can care less that I put in recessed lights because life took over. I don't even know what I had for lunch yesterday. But so when you come back from life and you don't have ripped up hundreds, life took over. But if you come back and you see 3 ripped up $100 bills, what's going to happen, Adam? What are you going to do with those 300?
You're going to remember the whole story that you had.
Not only are you going to, but you're going to be like, hey, Mom, this crazy guy called the 360 electrician just gave me half hundreds. Put that on your refrigerator, and you better believe I'm going from 1 to 3 to 9 to 27 every single time.
I love that. That's a great visual.
That's just so happened I had the cash. How lucky was that? Don't tell my wife. It'll be gone by the time I get home.
That's great. I think what you're touching on, guys, is, in the beginning, you're focused on like one layer of marketing. Yeah. And then once you get some breathing room and you're like, okay, we've kind of exhausted that channel, whatever it is, yard signs, then we do the next layer of marketing. And maybe it's Google ads, maybe it's more advanced, more complex. Once you get to $1 million, I personally have never experienced a company that can thrive just on referral. Maybe you actually, Jeff, but after that, like it's so hard. You can sustain 3 to 4 technicians on referrals and like minor marketing. But after that, you just kind of hit a wall. At least that's what I've seen for many companies. And so I think there's a point where you have to like excel your marketing to keep fueling the 6th, 7th, 8th technician for most companies.
Yeah. You can't just rely on one thing, but referrals, to his point, are absolutely huge. I mean, especially if you can stack the referrals and get referrals on referrals.
Yeah.
I mean, a little bit of agree to disagree on that because again, what is the number one guaranteed almost sale? It's referrals. Mm. So I understand. So again, I've got the upside down pyramid, and the point of that is an upside down pyramid is like a funnel. You want to throw every single thing you can, from ripping hundreds to magnets. I heard the podcast before this with wrapping your van with whatever you want. The whole point is when you dump it in that big funnel, you really are only still going to get trickled down as much as you can put in there, right? Mm-hmm. So a lot of people want to do it the upside down way. And I know we're going to talk about this hopefully later is, they want to go with 1, 3, like I just said. That's just one of my 20 different ways. So I absolutely agree. But also this, $1 million company plus is going to spend, I want to say a minimum of $20,000 to $50,000 in advertising minimum. I would say that's right. If you really do take half of that and give it back to your team and just spend some time training them. Again, get a sales guy in. I get hired all the time by plumbing electrical companies. They say, our electrical's dying, Jeff. Can you come and boost it? I said, I'll boost everything. Get someone in, pay them for it, and then give the balance of that back to your guys as incentives, as a booster. I personally think you're seeing 2-3 customers a day. I don't care what you say. How many dollars am I going to put into an advertising to get 3 customers a day? Probably not. It's going to be 10. So give it back to your guys, your company, and then you build that team. Again, I'm very unique. I get it. I sold golf balls when I was 8 years old. Did
you go in the water and pull out of the water?
Point being is, like, when me and Forrest were talking outside, I'm thinking, oh, I know. And then I'm like, whoa, he just took me to a different level on something I didn't think about. And if I'm in that place right now, that's exactly what I would do. So that's why we're coaches. That's why we're doing this. And that's why we're probably on this podcast.
Guys, this is a great conversation. I do want to pause for a minute to talk about Jobber and how Jobber can actually help business owners get to $1 million through processes and systems. Jeff, from your experience, how has Jobber helped you build those systems into your business to make it scalable?
All my systems are Jobber within Jobber. So I'm a helicoptering Jobber. I can sit at home in my pajamas in a helicopter, but every single one of my technicians, I give them the authority as team leaders and to invoice, to schedule, and to see everybody else and see what they're doing so that they need help, they can bring in. Jobber AI, forget about it. It's unbelievable. You cannot scale a business to $1 million without having field software. Ours is obviously Jobber by choice.
Jobber's the best one.
Jobber's the best one.
You heard him say it. Jobber's the best one. If you don't have a software at all, then you definitely need one. So go to jobber.com/podcast deal. Start using Jobber today. Get that exclusive discount. And baby, scale, baby, scale. Forrest, I want to get into the operations side of the business and making sure that we build a business that we enjoy, that's sustainable, that our technicians are happy, those kinds of things. What are some of the things, the checklist, if you will, that we have to really make sure that we're dialing in, or else we'll just be miserable when we get bigger?
Accountability. You've got to make sure that you've got clear roles and responsibilities with the team members so that there is a clear chain of command for each one of those team members to know what they're responsible for and who they're responsible to. Otherwise, you're going to be the owner that's getting every single phone call. My goal is to help owners get to where their phone doesn't ring. It's okay if a $1 million customer calls and wants to make get a sale, but I want to get your phone to not ring from your team members. You need to get to your business to where you are not getting called to make every decision. The $500 decision, empower your team member to make that decision. If they make a $500 mistake, they'll learn from it. It's a teachable moment, and they'll probably never do it again. But if you demand perfection and that your team members can't make a mistake and can't make decisions, then they're never going to make decisions.
You're just going to suffocate them.
Yeah. So accountability is I would say number one in my book as far as a checklist. You've got to get that squared away.
Yeah. And Jeff, earlier you mentioned train your people.
Yeah.
Training them on the craft of the skill they're learning, obviously. How else do you need to train them so that you can actually sustain this business in the long term?
Labor is really tough right now in the trades. We're down. There's a big gap that's coming. So I like to say, if you have a big turnover, then you're not training correctly, number one. I feel like if your team's equipped in all aspects of running the business, then you're just going to have a better team. And exactly what Forrest says, the phone's going to ring less because they have the authority, the knowledge, and especially the foresight to make sure that mistakes don't happen. But training is super important. So a lot of people will concentrate. Again, my coaching clients will call me and they say, well, I'm worried about theft. I'm worried about this. I'm worried about, they'll know the numbers. I can't tell them what I charge. They'll know that.
Right.
And I go, maybe you got the wrong employees. Do you want to be that glorified I can't say handyman because handymen are great. My brother's a handyman. But as an electrical contractor, you're kind of not a handyman. Like, are you in this thing to be an electrical contracting a business, or are you just going to be your most highest paid employee?
Yeah. Are you building an asset, or are you building a job?
I want to own the trains. I don't want to run the trains every day. Not that I'm degrading anybody. I did it. But my job, I feel, is to make sure my team makes the most amount of money, puts as much food on their plate, gets to do the vacations, everything I want to do. The funny part is I get paid less than any individual person that works for me, except I have 20 of them. Right. So I have the collective. That really is the team part of it. And I get to step away completely, teach them sales. Sales is the most important part. No lying, no cheating, not even a smell or hint of it. Otherwise, that's instant termination. My hiring process is probably where the training starts. I have the worst You don't want to know how I hire. I'm in LA, the most litigated state in the world.
Yeah.
One bad hire is bankruptcy. I'm not joking if you're just starting out. That's just the way it goes. So my hiring process is where the training starts. I'm going to make people sweat, and it's a very uncomfortable situation, but that's your first training. If you can't handle and pass that test, you're not going to work for me. There's just no way to do it.
I also think that you have to make sure that your technology scales with you. I used to think, oh, I'm the smartest guy in the world. My people aren't nearly as good as I am. They could never invoice. And like, they're literally the ones at the house. They know exactly what they did. Why can't they invoice? And so now all my people send invoices every single day. It's probably happening right as we speak. And that was a big mindset shift for me, because I thought there's no way they can invoice, but they could. But I can't imagine being 5 million and have me seeing all the invoices. That's Looney Tunes. And so you have to make sure that your process, especially around technology, really scales, or else the technology will become a burden, not a blessing.
Yeah, if they're invoicing in the field, guess what? They can collect money in the field.
Exactly.
Right? So they can take credit
That's
cards through the application. So
yeah,
I've got a huge smile on my face. Huge. Again, okay, so here's the scenario. So you have a qualified journeyman master electrician on the field, right? This is the way I did work for a company very briefly before this, and this is how it worked. So you'd go on the field as that technician. You would have to call the office. So that already you got to have someone that is going to price for all these overheads.
Oh my gosh.
Okay, so we're all in the trade. I put people on the spot. Okay. If you are bidding an electrical job, so we're in this studio, we need to put like 20 lights and run a couple of outlets. If you got to call me, I'm the boss, I'm the bottleneck, and I'm going to give you a price. This is a universal language for the trades, right? HVAC, plumbing. There are 2 questions. I can ask you 10. One of it be, is it, how's the customer? Are they a pain? Is it hard to get to?
What's he like?
But there is 2 universal questions that must be answered for me to give you a price. You guys know what that is? Think about that.
Not sure.
I show up, I analyze it, I look at it, I call you and I say,
how long is it going to take?
Perfect. 1. And the next one?
What materials are you going to need?
Boom. See what I'm saying?
How smart are we?
I know.
Smart guy.
So check this out. If I've trained my guys, and for example, dude, one technician, 1 day is $1,000 labor rate.
Okay.
And when they call me, how long is it going to take? Why are you calling me?
It's going to take 1 day.
You already named
$1,000.
My tech is going to tell me what it is. If he says 3.5 days, 3,500, why are you calling me? Okay, material sometime. You got 10 wholesale houses. You got friends. Have them make a list. Call up and say, what is this material going to be? About 800. You can you see what I mean? So I just empowered them to not call me.
We are really ruffling some feathers right now, because there are people listening. There's just no way they don't I'm
trust
special.
them. It's a
my
trust.
business is
Yes.
different. My industry, this and that. And yes, your industry is different than what maybe electrical, but it's the same. If you trust your people to go out in the field, people's homes, put on those little things on your feet, walk into their house, talk to the client, and fix their house or cut their grass, you should trust them to invoice.
Adam, give them an incentive.
Maybe there's a language barrier.
Yeah.
Maybe, but. Yeah. I think a mindset shift is really important here.
Yeah. And your frontline technicians are going to be people person.
That's
You're
right.
not going to put,
That's right. Yeah.
I have non-people persons too. They make amazing panels. They never call back. They're not my front line. And incentivize that. What's the incentivize? Look, you bid it for 3.5 days. I'm going to incentivize that. But if it takes 4.5, hey bro, like something's wrong. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. Forrest, how important is it as we close out to have like repeatable, documented processes that are the same, whether it's John or Joe, whether John's in a good mood or a bad mood, whether he got sleep last night, it doesn't matter. The same result is produced every time. How important is that?
It's vitally important. I mean, if you go into a fast food restaurant and go in the kitchen, there's repeatable processes documented out, visual diagrams. They don't document every single thing, but it's the 80-20 rule. It's what are the 20% of the things that get 80% of the results. Those are the things that you have to document, and you have to document them as simple as possible. One of the challenges I see is people over-document.
Okay.
And I ask them, show me your processes. Well, they pull it out of SharePoint or, Google Drive or whatever. And it's a 20-page document. Nobody's pulling that out and look at it. It's overkill. So everything that you do, look at the 20% that produces 80% of the results and get that simplified as easy as possible. And the 3 steps is get it to 20/80, right?
Yeah. I agree. And work with your team. Like, again, in my trade, I have to be an electrician. I'm a master electrician and a journeyman electrician, and I've 2 unlimited contractor. You can't get anything by me. I've been there and done that. But I still get my team in there sometimes when I'm building a new system, especially. If I got a system that has to be run my way, I have to do it on a higher level. I don't really want them to get involved. Everything else, I get them involved. And I always find them saying, oh, but Jeff,
what about this?
What about this? Yeah. And then get your system. And now they're in. They've bought into the system.
They bought in, and now it's their system,
right?
Not Jeff's other.
Right. I had a very interesting situation happen 2 weeks ago. Well pump 3-phase motor for all you electrician geeks out there. Nobody wrote that it was a 3-phase motor. They all thought it was a single phase. So one of my lead guys, Joseph, love him, love you guys. He comes and his head's low, like he's got it. I said, no. He goes, well, come in 3 minutes before the meeting, or usually 3 minutes. I think we're going to need longer than that. Because I said, no, we're not going to 3. I said, and bring our job flow chart with you. And he goes, okay. He came, he puts the paper on the table, and I just said, just point where you messed up. And he went, oh yeah, obviously it was between A and B, let's just say. I said, do you know what you did wrong? Absolutely. You can do it again because now you know. Oh, heck no. Okay, done. 3 minutes. Yeah. We solved it. Again, we did lose some money on that job. I don't say lose. We broke even, but
it wasn't a 20-page document.
Was it? It's one single sheet.
It's been 2 pages.
Right. That's the point.
It's one single. Now, I'm a social media guy. I could talk 28,000 steps to that, but you're right. You're going to lose them.
I've got 3 actionable items I think our listeners can do right now to start getting to $1 million. Number 1 is you have to have a goal and know what the goal is. If your goal is $1 million, then what is that a month, per week, per day? Is that $8,000 a day, $10,000 a day? You need to have like a visual of what you want your business to be and look like, and then work backwards from there. Number 2 is you have to train your people. Your people are the most important part of your business. You got to train them, empower them, trust them. Don't make them call the office every 5 minutes, ask them this question, that question. Empower them. Say, hey, you make the decision. If you make a mistake, we'll learn from it and you'll get better moving forward. And number 3 is processes, repeatable, documented processes. You have to have a simple, maybe 1 sheet that explains something that you're doing. That way, if they mess up, you can say, hey, you missed number 3. And it's accountability, and it empowers them to do the job right. You need to have a documented process so that whether it's John or Joe or Louise, they're doing it the same way every single time.
Absolutely. I love those 3. And of course, I think it's super important to find a coach, to find a program, a system that shows you the end game, the actual results on the field, not just on a piece of paper or a whiteboard, that you resonate with in your trade, your company, or where you want to go. I think that's the winning trifecta right there.
Well, you guys are crushing it in business. Forrest, I appreciate you being here. Jeff, you guys are both dominating it. Just thank you for the impact that you guys are having in our space. It really means a lot.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you. Thanks for having us.
Forrest, how do people find out more about you?
You can find me on derrconsulting.com, DERRconsulting.com. Fill out a contact form. Be great and talk to you.
So me, it's super simple. My calling card, I tell everybody, is just go to YouTube and in the search bar, type in electrical contractor. I'm going to apologize to you and your family. They're going to see this face a lot on there, but that's my niche. And also everything I do is at www.the360electrician.com. All my social media channels are at the 360 Electrician.
Great. Well, thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for listening. I hope that you heard something today that will help you get to $1 million in revenue. I'm your host, Adam Sylvester. You can find me at adamsylvester.com. Your team and your clients and your family deserve your very best, so go give it to them.